This tournament was sponsored by Insights, a platform for gamers to learn and teach at the comfort of their own PC. Get your account today.
And we welcome you back here as we're getting ready for our next game here in the losers bracket. We're getting close to the end, though, Kenobi, for this European Invitational here presented by Monkey Bubble. It's been a fun run so far. We are now into the second to last round of the losers bracket, so effectively the semifinals, and it is Indignation versus Regem. And this one looks to be a really good matchup. They played each other earlier on, very early on, in fact. It was, in fact, the first game that either team played in this tournament.
Yeah, it was a 3-1 victory, I believe, for the side of Indignation over Regem here. And I think for Indignation, the thing we just saw them play, so we're very familiar with this team more than we are with Regem. And Indignation seems to be giving us some good games, a lot of talented players on their teams, but Regem also not too shabby. They've been making a run all the way through this losers bracket and have made it all the way to the losers semis. So that's definitely something they can hang their hat on.
Yes, without a doubt, something to be proud of and trying to do, like if you're an Overwatch League fan, something that we've seen another team that's in the grand finals do in the San Francisco Shock. So trying to be the San Francisco Shock of this tournament. They haven't 3-0'd their way through, but they've had a bunch of 3-1s or 3-0 wins. So they have really come back with a furious vengeance. And now they can exact their vengeance on the team that put them down into this lower bracket in Indignation. So we know from Indignation that Eden is one of the players that we're going to have to watch out for. We've already kind of gone into what the compositions are we're going to see. We get to go right back to Busan here for our first map as well. And we can see we're actually going to get Mecha Base first this time, Kenobi.
Yeah, so with Indignation, the thing that they've been running a lot of, they ran a lot of Doomfist Pharah, Doomfist Reaper, and one of the other people on Indignation that I have been incredibly impressed with throughout has been Shade on that Orisa. He's been using his halts very effectively, has good shield placement and timing, Fortify as well, doesn't just let Doomfists punch him whenever they want. So I think Shade is also someone, if you're, one of those people who likes the more intricate things in Overwatch, like your Orisa play and, your halts and your shields, I think he's definitely someone to look out for.
Now, I'm about to say something about this composition that people may not like. There's similarities to GOATs and the intricacies that are used in this composition. It's very teamwork-based, some of the things that you're trying to do.
Well, I hope you're ready to be on Reddit, Lavosco, because that's going to get clipped. It's going to be put up there. You're going to get flamed completely because we don't like goats. We don't talk about goats.
There's similarities. It's not the same. There's just similarities. That's all I'm saying. Like, teamwork is important, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if I said I miss goats, that would really be the really.
That would be the one that would go on to Reddit. Contenders, China Caster says he misses goats. Regardless, though, we've started the map of Mecha Base here between these two teams. Regem is your team in blue, Indignation is your team in red, and we're seeing so far that they're kind of meeting in the middle, and Doomfists are wreaking havoc on either side. Eden in a little bit of a precarious spot there is able to get himself out. Abs right now just healing everybody as much as possible. Halfway to that coalescence, throws out that healing ball as well, and just keeping the team up as they position themselves to reach them towards the point. Same thing with Indignation, missed by Nachos, trying to get in with that rocket punch. Tap is the one who ends up getting two at the beginning here on this Doomfist. Coalescence is out, but it might be too little too late. Cloud following up on the eliminate to Nachos.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference here in Doomfist. We saw last map, if you guys were watching, Tap was a pretty decent Doomfist in his own right, but there, unfortunately, Nacho's just not hitting the punches he needs, tries two of them, and misses completely on both of them, whereas Tap hits his, and they're able to take that point for Indignation.
Sometimes it's all it is the difference in the Doomfist, and at least that's what's opened up this map, but there's still a lot of potential to play around here for the side of Regem. They did get some ultimates that are very close to being up here, but we do have the Meteor Strike too from Tab, showing you too that he was making an impact on that Doomfist, in case you didn't see it on the kill feed. So regardless, starting off pretty good. Meteor Strike first going to be used though by Nachos. No value out of it as of yet. Use of the Meteor Strike coming now through for Tab, and he gets two! Massive halt in, and it's another team fight win for Indignation. They do lose Tap there, but that's because he got a little greedy.
And there you go. You saw, I talked about it before we started. Shade with that halt, absolutely masterful teamwork coming out from Indignation. The halt Meteor Strike combo, one of those combos that has seen a lot more prevalence recently, even in Overwatch League. So Indignation really pulling out their team coordination and making it work, as they have a huge ultimate advantage coming into this next fight.
Coalescence is the ultimate that you're seeing on your screen right now that Abs has available. A lot of ultimates on either side. It's going to be an ult fiesta here. Coalescence thrown out as well. And out coming through is Tap with 2 eliminations with the help of the Coalescence. And now it's just Nachos who is just dying here. This is domination we're seeing right now from Indignation.
I really like how Indignation is so aggressive with their supercharger placement. They throw down the supercharger and then they just hit W on the enemy team, and they're not able to deal with it. So now this is last fight territory. Indignation wins this next fight, they'll win the round.
Eden looking for the opportunity to come in with the Death Blossom here. You can see him on the high ground. Makes it a little bit easier to get that Wraith form out into an area you want. Looks down to see if they're coming from the low ground, sees that they're coming from the little bit higher area. Ooh, big use of that Flux, but a Sound Barrier perfectly timed, keeps everybody alive. Counter Flux coming out, Sound Barrier up and hits everybody for Indignation, and they keep everyone alive. Use of that Death Blossom from the high ground does give up some shield charge, and now the Death Blossom counter, but Tap coming through with its seismic
another
slam.
halt!
Meteor Strike halt gets 2. Tap so well combined with Shade.
And there it is. They're going to clean up this fight. They're going to win this round. And Indignation with their teamwork, coordination coming out 100-0 victory. This team looks like they are primed to do, well, they're not going to do the San Francisco because they didn't lose in the first round, but they're looking pretty good and trying to get towards that winner grand finals spot here. Losers finals, off of that one map, they look so much more coordinated than the side of Regem.
Yeah, they'll await the winner of the game that we have on the other side to see who will come down into the losers bracket. Just a reminder of that, Axe Oblivion versus Ad Astra. So that is your winners final. This is your losers semifinal to see who gets to play that. And we're seeing, we haven't really seen them do this, but Eden is going to do the Symmetra from the spawn. We didn't see them really do this before, but they're going to decide to do it now. And then he'll make that switch over to the Reaper.
Yeah, again, the thing that offers you is you don't have to use the amplification, the amp from the Lucio to, speed onto the point. You can get to point just as quickly, and then you could use amp for something else with that speed boost.
Throw the rocket punch in. Tap misses with it, but his team doing just fine without him hitting his shot. The accretion a little bit late there from the other side for Regem, and Regem end up losing this one pretty handily again.
Yeah, Nachos is going super aggressive with these Doomfist plays, not waiting for a halt or anything, just trying to get a raw punch, and he's not connecting with them. I mean, you can see already the difference between both of these players. Tap already at 50%, whereas Nachos only at 23%, so Nachos not connecting on the same punches and the same value that Tap has been.
And Tap didn't hit a rocket punch there, something to point out too. Tap just did his damage with his left click and with his seismic slam and his uppercut. So that getting value other than rocket punch is always important too, it seems like, for this Doomfist. Sukrux getting a little bit low there, be able to back away though. Coalescence coming out here right away from Regem. They're trying to take advantage of the ultimates that they were able to at least build up into that fight, but Sukrux answering with the Coalescence as well. And it's pretty even, at least for the most part. Neither team being able to find anything at the moment and kind of just backing off here for a second.
Yeah, but this is good really for the side of Indignation. They're still just taking away this point as the fight's going to come in now.
Supercharger gets placed down, immediately taken out, though not the best one from Shade there. But the Death Blossom from Edit gets 3. The Flux doesn't even matter.
Yeah, the Flux is, they're just going to clean this up, Indignation, and now they have full control of this point right now, 58% in their pocket. This is 1 or 2 fights left for the side of Regem here, but they're going to be having some ultimates coming into this next fight. They're going to have Coalescence and the Sound Barrier, and they're going to be having the Bongos, so a good amount of ultimates for the side of Regem.
They do have to win this fight, though. If they don't, they're probably, this could be last fight territory potentially, based on where the time is. They may have one more if they hurry back, but with how long it's taken them to get here, this is probably going to be last fight. Tap with that Meteor Strike, looking for some opportunity to come in, maybe with the Meteor, or with the Rocket Punch, as we're seeing Alex here get pulled up into the air. He's all right, though, and now the Meteor Strikes start to come out from either side. No value as of yet, but Eden is down, so this looking pretty good, at least for the start for Regem, but there's still plenty of players alive. Coalescence, though, helping And finally, Nacho's coming through with that rocket punch. Sukrux desperately trying to answer, but it won't be enough.
Yeah, this is just going to be a stall tactic right now. Alex does have Gravitic Flux. I don't expect him to use it here. He's going to be holding on to it. That's good, because if he had used it, that would have been extremely bad ultimate usage. And finally, Regem is going to take the point for the first time in this entire map so far, counting our first round.
They finally do get it, though. Ultimate-wise, they're actually not bad, too, Kenobi.
Yeah, not the worst from them. They are going to be having the sound barrier available to counter out the flux that Alex has. So that's really the most important thing coming into this next fight.
No other big ultimates as far as the offense is concerned. Close for the side of Indignation, too. So really, that's all you're holding it for if you are the side of Regem. So Kumara can just really hold on for that. As here comes out the Gravatic Flux, sound barrier used. Perfectly timed, too. Get a lot of value out for it after the Flux goes through as well, as they are still just trying to keep their advantage. Coalescence, so they have to be careful here. Their Arisa getting extremely low, and they lose Mossy down. Now Gravitic Flux from the other side. I don't know if it got anybody, though, is the only thing, but oh, Grafton, his ult gets eaten. He manages to at least destroy the supercharger with it, but Abs with the Coalescence and desperation. Nachos needs to be huge here as his team is losing players left and right, and he can't do anything. He's getting chased down. The flip almost certain for the side of Indignation.
Yeah, they're going to be taking this round. There's not really any stall potential as Abs gets punched by Tap, and that's kind of been the story of the first couple of maps, or first couple of rounds rather, on this map, is Tap just absolutely dominating alongside Eden, and some really nice halts coming in with Shade, as we're going to be seeing Tap get the play of the game.
Not too much of a surprise. It's probably one of those meteor strikes that he ended up doing. But you look at it here, we talked so much about Eden last game.
So
there's
good.
that halt again.
Yep.
It's such a good halt. But we talked so much about Eden in our previous matchup because he was sort of what was most important for what we were seeing against Nariki. But for here, we're seeing against Regem that this is allowing for Tap sort of his opportunity to shine a little bit more. And Eden, of course, is still playing incredibly well on the Reaper.
Yeah, Eden on the Reaper still is really nice, and the thing that I like from Indignation most is that they're very calculated in what they're doing a lot of time. We're seeing a difference in Doomfist play. We see with Tap, for instance, we're seeing Tap being a little bit more, measure twice, cut once on his Doomfist, waiting for those perfect moments, whereas Nachos on the other side for Regem is kind of just like throwing punches out and hoping that something is going to connect. So sometimes it works where Nachos does end up getting that one, miracle punch where he is able to get that one support or one squishy that gets one shot. But there's other times where he just goes in, doesn't do anything, doesn't force any cooldowns from the other team either, and then just has to, cooldowns have to be funneled into him so that he stays alive.
It's also important to point out that for Indignation, it's not just like the Tap and Eden show. Everybody on this team is playing extremely
Shade
well.
is playing really well on Arisa, really well comboing those halts and just using Fortify and using his shields really well. I think Shade is someone who is definitely helping a lot.
Shade, the only thing I've seen for Shade is there's one supercharger that was maybe just a little bit too aggressive, but that's okay. You like this style that they're playing, I think, is one thing to point out. Like, Indignation style is definitely one that's fun to watch. That's for sure.
Yep. I really like a lot what Indignation is doing, as these teams are going to be switching sides, I believe, coming into this next round. But the thing I like about what Indignation does a lot with their superchargers, and I love when just like people in Overwatch do this as well, is when they, hit supercharger and then they just hit W. You play an aggressive style, especially if you have advantage and there isn't a supercharger on the other side. You have such an advantage with your damage output that you can just, Arisa with superchargers still does some pretty insane amount of damage, especially if they're headshots. So I think that's the play style that I really like to see a lot of.
What's something that we need to see change here from the side of Regem? Because obviously there's been a little bit of trouble for them, at least in that first map, where it did at times look very dominant from Indignation.
I mean, I'd like to see them maybe combo, if they're going to be having Nachos, play this aggressive style of Doomfist, maybe try and combo it a little bit with the halts. We didn't see a lot of that, where on Indignation side, we did see a lot of combination with the Doomfist and with the Orisa. We talked about how Nachos didn't have as much of an advantage with his with the ult percentage that he was getting, and Tap was a bit further ahead. That's because Tap is getting a lot of value from seismic slamming and uppercutting a lot of these halts that Shade is coming in with. So I'd like to see that from Regem and a little bit more. Combo your Doomfist with your Orisa halts.
Yes, that would be something to definitely would like to see. We are going to Nambani for our next map, And we saw for Indignation, this was a map that they just lost. They lost in the last game. They couldn't deal too well with the Pharah that they ended up seeing on the map. But they also, this was a map that they actually had opportunities in to win it as well.
Yeah, they were playing the Bastion composition actually for a lot of the time on this defense, on their first defense on Numbani, and even on the offense as well. So I would probably expect them to play a little bit more of that. I would expect maybe some Doomfist as well, because Tap has been playing so phenomenally on it, as well as Eden on the Reaper. So I think they have a lot of options going into Numbani, but this is Regem's map pick, so probably they have something up their sleeve and what they want to do and how they want to be able to play this map to try and even out the series.
Just waiting for us to load in a map here. Should be coming in just a moment. For the side of Regem, I'm sure that maybe one of the things that maybe they scouted out was, hey, the Pharah is pretty good if you can play it well against Indignation. I think that's the one thing where we saw them struggle the most, was when Pharah was thrown into the equation. But then again, on Dorado, there was a Pharah v Pharah matchup, and they actually end up winning that for Indignation to win 3-1 against Nariki. So what do you see as the biggest thing coming from Indignation that a team like Regem can take advantage of?
Take advantage of the aggressive style, I think, is something that you can do. Don't try and fight fire with them. If you're going to be, using Nachos here as just a heavy engaged Doomfist, like, just try and play a little bit more measured, like because Indignation isn't going to just run at you unless they have something like Supercharger. We see a lot with how Tap has been playing, where Tap is just waiting for those perfect opportune moments. Making Indignation play a little bit more, reactionary. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we can try and see if Regem's going to be able to do that or not when we do get into this map. Again, we're going to Numbani. We know that. We're just kind of waiting here for a second. We'll get into the map in just a moment. Let's talk about the supports real fast, though, because I think Indignation, like, we really haven't talked about their support duo all that much yet. But when you look at Sucrox and I believe that the other
Cloud
support that we've been seeing is Cloud.
Yep.
They're actually really... when you're not talking about supports, it's usually because they're doing their job and they're doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, supports in this meta don't really have that much pop-off potential, really. I mean, if you're a Lucio at this point in the meta, you're kind of just a speed bot and a sound barrier bot to try and negate a lot of the damage that's going to be coming in from Gravitic Flux. But Moira is someone that I think does have some, potential to do some really interesting things. Coalescence usage is something that is very important in the generation of Coalescence, because if you're in a position where if you and the enemy team are playing against each other, you both have a Moira, but one of the Moiras gets Coalescence, let's say 20% faster than the other one, that should be a one fight for the team that has the Coalescence firsthand. So I think definitely generation and usage of Coalescence is something that I think is interesting to see. Usually at this point, Coalescence is an ability where it's like, we have it, we use it.
Yeah, it's almost used on cooldown, it feels like at times, unless you've won the fight already. But we get to see teams have swap sides. So Regem will be the team in red. Team in blue will be Indignation. Just got to wait and see who they come out with. As for the defense, and it looks like they're going to go with Cloud on the... They're going to go... I wonder if that was just to get players... No, they're going to come out with the Symmetra, it looks like.
Oh.
No. Ed didn't switch. He did switch.
Okay. All right, so Eden's going to be coming out with this. So this is a composition that we saw from Indignation a little bit earlier in their matchup previously that we were casting Labasco, and it worked out pretty well at the start. And it looks like for Regem, they're going to be running the same thing. They're going to be running the Mirror, the May, and the Bastion. So it's going to be a battle of shield break here, and also a battle of who can get the window first. If someone like Sukrak is able to get the window before Kumber is, then I think it's going to be... That's probably the thing that wins you the fights, because Bastion shooting through that amplification matrix just does so much damage.
Anna and the Baptiste on the other side for Regem, and they're coming out with a Bastion of their own, Kenobi.
Mm-hmm. And the difference here between the Ana on offense and the Ana on defense for both of these teams is that you're playing the Mercy on defense, because the Mercy on defense gives you the option to have that resurrection, whereas on the offense, you just have Ana, because Ana has a lot more healing output, and you don't really need the resurrection.
It's a very similar thoughts of what they want to do here. Big anti-nade comes through, but the immortality field there was made sure to keep everybody alive. Same thing with all of the shields. So now it's a spam battle, and Eden's the one who goes down, and then so does Sucrox. You've lost two.
And that's just going to be it. They're going to be wiping up this point here. Grathen is just raining down bullets from everywhere. They're just going to take their time. They're not getting on the point just yet. They have a huge advantage, but Tap is going to go down to Abs.
Sucrax, being one of the first people to go down is something that hurts so much, losing immortality field and all that. And now you don't even have to put the Bastion down onto the point as of yet. You can just sit on the high ground and spam players as they come through.
And you saw there, I mean, just how much the Ana got so much value with that anti-nade. Hit a huge anti-nade at the start and forced out a lot of cooldowns, forced out the immortality field. So the Ana really paying off for Regem.
So Regem very quickly getting this cart started. The Bastion set up on the high ground for Indignation to try and deal with this. We'll see how they do this time. The wall there, I think, blocking off a few players, and you're seeing them kind of rotate around, making sure that they don't die.
Yeah, that was a really well wall, and it forces them off of the high ground as well. And there's another big anti-nade from Abs.
Oh, tank mode going to get used here, too. First thing going out is the lamp. And now Grathen can just go through and just completely destroy them. Grathen just completely obliterating the rest of Indignation. I think there was maybe there was a Mercy still on the cards.
Yeah. I mean, these anti-nades from Abs are getting so much value, like I talked about earlier. It's forcing out so many cooldowns. There you saw Sucrax has to use that immortality field early to keep himself alive, and then Grathen just uses that tank mode, blows it up in one hit, and then everyone else goes down after the cleanup. So Regem really playing well on their map pick. It seems like this is a composition they have a lot of familiarity with.
The Maywall, it's very smart. Maywall allows them to take that point without any sort of contest coming through from the side of Indignation.
Yeah, and here they're just going to be rolling this cart forward. 5 minutes and 18 seconds left for Regem here as they're going to be going onto the second point. Not a lot of ultimates for Indignate, or for Regem rather. They just have the Blizzard, and on the other side they have the Bongos. Bongo available though for Flossy Mossy, so this could be a damage boosted battle coming in.
Well, here comes out the Supercharger, like you said. Anti-nade though.
Anti-nade again.
Blizzard coming out as well. Oh, it's not that good of a position, Blizzard. Oh, it does manage to get at least, though, the bash is a good thing. It looked like the
counter Blizzard
outside of. Oh, the counter Blizzard's better! Way better on that side in Indignation. They finally stall out.
Yeah, really good counter Blizzard from Tap, understanding that they were coming through that chokehold, and May Blizzard has a pretty wide radius, so it just freezes everyone who's stuck in that little hallway, and they can't follow up on the Blizzard from Nachos. Great play from Tap.
Still going with this Bastion composition, though, is Regem. They do have Amplification Matrix, and they do have the Flux as well. Flux on either side, so have a couple of interesting ultimates coming up for this next fight that either team is going to be able to use. Senny kind of just building up a little bit extra shield, and then wasting it away by giving it all right back to the Bastion.
Yeah, I mean, Bastion chews through shields, so you can just sit there. He's being damage boosted as well, and now they're just taking their time here. There comes the window, a lot of damage.
Amplification Matrix on either side have the use of the shift from Senia as well to build up a lot of shielding that goes down so fast, though, and Eden is winning that battle.
Yeah, they just win the bad war of attrition there, and the thing is that I really like that Eden has just not used the tank ultimate just yet. He's just waiting. He just knows that he's got so much damage available to him just sitting there with the Amplification Matrix, with the Bongos as well, that he can just use that turret mode and pump out even more damage. Seems like, oh, that's a good sleep, I guess.
Maybe, because it allows for you to just push them back, right?
It's a good sleep because that way, man, they can't just set up there and just stay there. Now they have to back up a bit, so it's giving a little bit more space to Regem to try and get back and hold the cart.
Have to let those shields regenerate too, which I don't even know if they got them all the way back, at least for the one. You have the
huge anti.
Yeah, Gravitic Flux coming out. Use with the anti-nade as well. Not able to get anybody, though. Everybody kept alive nicely thanks to the Mercy who used Valkyrie. Oh. And now you have tank mode used too. Gravitic Flux used again. And it doesn't get any value at all.
Oh my gosh.
Along with Tap just going through and obliterating.
Yeah, and there you saw Senny. He had the lights in his eyes. He saw that huge anti-nade. They were all clumped up together, and he tried to get the kills with the Gravitic Flux, but just didn't have the damage follow-up or output, unfortunately, because Cloud used his Valkyrie. So nice ultimate there from Cloud to negate the damage coming out from that Gravitic Flux.
So even though you got no value on one side, the other side, you're able to get plenty of value in other ways. And now you have Blizzard for Tap available whenever. this massive time bank they had to fight this third point down to 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
Yeah, and here it's going to be a battle of blizzards as well. Tap, we saw beforehand, hit a really nice counter blizzard. Is he able to do the same thing here?
Was starting to come around, but now it doesn't matter that he's not in the fight. Eden is able to take down Flossy Mossy. They lose that main tank, and they force everybody back again, so you don't even have to use much other than the supercharger to win a fight.
Yeah, the wind is completely out of the sails here for Regem. They are just stuck. They don't know what to do. Eden is just melting through any health bar he sees walk up. The bongos used from Shade to just make sure that they're able to take that fight. And now their huge time bank that was at 5 seconds. Oh, Nachos, you can't die here. This is going to be even more of a stagger, but the wall comes out.
Throws the wall up. Like you said, Blizzard on either side, and now you're going to have the Blizzard battle. Use of the ice block, though. This is not a winning battle for Nachos.
He's at 2 health. Oh, he lived!
He lived. The immortality field saved his life. He comes back down, throws the blizzard out, and he's got a couple players in it as well. Counter blizzard, though, too. Ice block being used to keep himself alive for Nachos. Blizzards are over. They don't get value on either side, canceling each other out.
Oh, Alex is in such a bad position, though. He's going to go down. He's back in the enemy team.
Oh, no. He throws out the accretion to try and keep himself alive. He's starting to try and escape.
He's still alive!
He got out! He's still alive for his team, and he forces out an immortality field with the help of Tap. Nachos getting one down, though, and Alex, who eventually does lose his life. So, but we're even. We're even right now.
Yeah, Garthin is able to get kill on Eden, so that's really good. They can set back up on the cart now, but this is their last push. They lose this push, they aren't going to be able to complete this map.
This fight has been about 2 minutes long. Absolutely insane stall for the side of Indignation, and they have the ult advantage as well. Tank mode, the only thing available right now for the side of Regem. Indignation throwing out that amplification matrix here at the start. Abs
what a haul.
throwing out the nade. The halt coming through. Nobody has died yet, though. Is the thing tapped?
Nachos!
First one to go down. Nachos getting that kill. Big advantage now to have that made.
Yeah, and Nachos is just waiting. The wall comes up, blocks off the damage from the Bastion.
Oh,
Rathin is fluxed.
Flux doesn't get anything, though. Grathin still alive, has tank mode. He goes. Cretion coming out on either side, not getting value. Oh, the wall actually blocks the damage coming out from the tank mode is the only thing. Tank modes are over, though, now. Gravitic Flux. It's big. Is it enough damage, though? The immortality field is there, keeping everybody alive for Indignation.
Eden's down!
Eden being down. Amplification is blocked thanks to the May wall. Blizzard out on the cart, though. Could be the equalizer. Shade getting caught in the Blizzard here on the side for the defense. Graphic still able to throw damage out. Players coming back in, added back into the fight. Immortality field gone. Just a few players stalling on the cart now, looking really good for Regem in this overtime. Just have to deal with Cap. Ball goes flying into the air. And they do cap this for the side of Regem in overtime.
That was so scrappy, but their Kumber comes in so clutch with a lot of these immortality fields that he was throwing out, negating the damage coming out from the Bastion. So many people were low health, and it was Nachos who was about to die, and if Nachos dies there, they aren't going to have the Blizzard, and it was saved by that immortality field. So great play from this Baptiste player from Regem.
There was also the May wall that just gets rid of the amplification matrix, basically.
Yep.
It was such a smart May wall because literally all they did for Nachos was Nachos put it right where the amp matrix is, and then you can't shoot through it. You have to try and get the May wall down before you can, and by that time, it's already gone.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was so close, though, but for Regem, they rolled pretty hard on those first 2 points, and then they got stuffed on that last point. They only finished in overtime, where they had a 5-minute and 14-second time bank getting 2-point B, but the wind got knocked out of their sails completely.
The one thing, though, they're going with a similar composite. No, they're going with completely different. They're going with the May and the Reaper. I thought maybe they were going to do. I was looking at the wrong side. So, Indignation is not going with the Bastion either right now. Well, Eden's showing Tracer. That's probably not going to be what it is.
No, that's definitely not. Tracer is another hero who does not have the greatest place in the meta at the current moment. I would expect probably the Reaper. If we're going, oh no, it's going to be the Bastion. Okay, so they are going to be using the Bastion on the offense here, and interesting that the way that they were playing it beforehand for Regem. Interesting that they're not going to be going for the Bastion defense here.
Yeah, they're going with the Reaper instead. Keeping the May, of course, though. We've seen Nachos do pretty good on that. Oh, Ice Wall coming out here at the beginning. Shade just trying to keep himself up and alive. Staying in that immortality field. Extremely aggressive, and it's not paying off at all, Kenobi.
That was so aggressive from Regem, and now they just lose this point for basically nothing. It's just going to be... That is just unfortunate for the side of Regem, as the Indignation will definitely say, thank you very much. We will take this first point.
And now you have your Moira who's caught out and just trying to run away as best she can and getting chased down by Eden on... Oh, Moira's able to actually get back, but the point is already given up, though, so not that it makes much of a difference. As you have the accretion thrown out, not going to get anything.
Yeah, but I mean, look at how much better it is looking on ultimates for the side of Indignation here. They're gonna have the window with the Bastion, so they can just roll through point B. And as we know, Labosco, point B is one of the most snowballable points in Overwatch in all of these maps.
If we didn't know, you told us. So that's the important thing. We've learned something from Kenobi today. Regardless, amplification matrix pulled out here, but aggressive again. Going in is the defending team in Regem, and it works this time.
Yeah, this time it actually works for Regem. A really nice flight there from Grathen onto the Bastion, and once the Bastion is, face to face with those Hellfire shotguns from the Reaper, he's gonna go down very quickly. His tap also gonna go down, and now a switch being made. Eden gonna be going over to the Reaper to try and match. Now we have the full mirror.
So full mirror now coming out with the switch from the Bastion to the Reaper. Not that you lose a lot. Take mode can be good. It also isn't always that great. So
yeah,
not the worst ultimate that if you had any alt charge that you're losing. And now we do have, though, we have the Gravitic Flux on either side is the important thing. So opportunities to use that. Blizzard going to be what comes out here first. On either side, they're overlapping Blizzards. You do have a couple players frozen, but neither team can follow up on it. Now it's the Gravitic Flux. The Hulk pulls everybody in except for the Moira. And now a lot of players low health. It's can you finish it off? Accretion to get Cloud down first, and back into their spawn doors goes Indignation.
We talked about halts earlier from Shade, but here Flossy Mossy has been hitting a lot of really good halts, and there they combo with the Gravitic Flux, and that was a 5-man Gravitic Flux. A lot of health being done, especially because there wasn't anything to deal with it. No cooldowns, no defense cooldowns either for either of the supports, so they're able to win. And Regem here keeping a really good hold on this point B.
Flossy Mossy with the supercharger, going to throw it down here immediately. And now it's a supercharger on either side. Bossy Mossy tried to walk through and take it down. Almost got him killed, though. Coalescence doing a nice job keeping him up. And now the Flux big on the other side.
Sound barrier's too late.
Sound barrier was a little late. Do manage to get down one was the thing, but it's not enough. And this card is eventually going to start again for the side of Indignation.
It's a little bit of a disaster there. That sound barrier just a little bit too late, and Flossy Mossy isn't able to survive, but they're still taking this fight here, just trying to stall the best they can, but finally it's going to be Indignation cleaning up the fight.
Cart will start again, thanks to it, but you still will get one more hold on this point for the side of Regem. That's the important thing. Eden is waiting here with this Death Blossom up on the high ground, seeing if they're going to come up this way.
Yeah, unfortunately, Death Blossom, not the greatest of ultimates, especially with something like Sigma, who can just use that grasp and negate basically in the entire thing. But an aggressive push here. Will he drop down with that Death Blossom?
Trying to wait for that use of, like you said, the grass comes through. He's going to know his opportunity now, but he doesn't even need it. His team uses the Blizzard instead. Well, he still will throw it out to stop the Coalescence.
Yeah, really smart, patient play there coming out from Eden, and it's going to be rewarded with a point B capture here. Like you mentioned, waits for the Prismatic Grass to come through. Nothing there available to negate his Death Blossom. Then he just gets the Moira while she's in Coalescence, so negates the healing coming from that as well. Really nice patient play from Eden. And now, coming into this next point, they have 3.5 minutes left, but Regem was stalled at this point. Let's see if they can do it to the Indignation.
Indignation starting to build up a couple of ultimates. They only have one right now in the Coalescence. On the other side, though, for Regem, they're actually in a pretty good spot. Oh, the wall blocked!
Oh, the wall is screwed up!
Blocked his own teammate, Eden is dead because of it. And now you'll have the Gravitic Flux come through. That's going to kill the Orisa as well. And then the accretion onto Syncrux. He will be able to use his he is able to get out at the very least with the fade for the moment, and yet will be able to stay alive.
A huge miscommunication there from Tap and Eden. Eden gets screwed over by Tap's wall, and he goes down. And once he goes down, Regem hits the go button, and they run onto Indignation. Tap going to be switching back over to the Doomfist to try and, again, we're going to go for the full mirror here with both of these teams.
So, ultimate-wise, It's looking pretty good for Indignation, but Regem with plenty of ults too. So this is going to be a lot of ults. Supercharger the first one. It's going to come down for Indignation. Abs is trying to heal everybody out. Coalescence being used here as well. Meteor Strike coming through too by Nachos. Doesn't get anything. Cloud able to get Grantham though. So you're down your Reaper. And now Abs with the Coalescence gets slammed. But it doesn't matter. They're still winning the fight.
Yeah, it looks like Regem's going to actually win this fight some way, somehow. Frosty Mossy uses the bongos to just secure everything, and Regem holds still 2 minutes left. 1 or 2 more fights like that, and they might win the round, Labosco.
Minute 55 left to go. A lot of ultimates did have to be used, though, by Regem is the only thing. Sound Barrier up, and Death Blossom about to come online as well. Is the one good thing, though.
Oh, Nachos!
He stays alive. Just manages to stay alive. Weird place for the Orisa Barrier, though. But now you got to wait for that cooldown to come off.
And there's a halt, not going to get anything. The accretion comes out as well, so that's some cooldowns that the side of Indignation is not going to have.
Edin, though, coming through, uses the Death Blossom. With help of Frosty Mossy, he's able to get one. Out comes the use of the Gravatic Flux. Nothing done there because the Sound Barrier was timed perfectly. Oh, Edin lost that battle in the corner. Thanks to the help of the Lucio. Seti is dead too. This is looking good though for Regem still. They do have the closer respawns. Coalescence being used in this fight as well by Abs. Nachos, Meteor Strike into the air. Cloud is down, looking for the Rocket Punch in, missing it. But his team holding on right there at the last second. We're into probably last fight territory between these two.
Definitely last fight territory. 1.91 meters is what separated them from that capture, but this is, as you mentioned, last fight territory, and they're going to have to go into it with not a lot of ultimates to speak of. Shade probably going to be able to get this bongo in time, and Sucrax will get the Coalescence as well, but nothing else. They're going to have to pull out one of those miraculous Halt Doomfist Meteor Strike combinations to have a chance.
You said, Sound Barrier, the only thing online right now. Tap missing with his Rocket Punch, not getting much value out there. Seismic Slam in. He's got the Orisa really low. Uses the Meteor Strike in afterwards. The Halt not going to get anything.
Oh, Nachos!
Tap is dead. Nachos timed it perfectly. Coalescence out, but the use of the Death Blossom from Grantham is perfectly timed. Grantham being a hero here for his team. Alex desperately trying to hold on. 6 seconds left alive. They'll get the overtime meter, but this is looking so good for Regem.
Regem here is going to take this map. No one can touch, and that's going to be Regem evening out the series. My goodness. It seems like with Indignation, we always get these insane close matches on Numbani.
Numbani, another one that's super close, like you said. Tap getting play of the game is just a sort of a consolation prize when you lose the map.
Yeah.
But this map looking a lot better was the side of Regem, for sure.
Yeah, Regem played the Bastion composition very well at the start. Got to point B, I believe, with about 5 minutes and 14 seconds left, and they got stalled a little bit at the end, but they did manage to cap the point. And then once it came down to that last fight, really nicely played from the entirety of their team. They didn't clump up together. They knew they were going to try for a Halt Meteor Strike combination. The only person that got halted was the Moira, and Moira can just fade out of that. And then Nachos was ready right there with the counterpunch onto his counterpart on the enemy Doomfist. So really well played from Regem at the death there.
Especially at the end, I think we're starting to see a Regem. I mean, they've had a lot of games that they've had to play to get to this point. That's for sure. You know, when you lose at the beginning in the losers bracket, you've kind of got the longest run.
You
usually,
got to make the run. Got to take it's on the grind.
They've made it here so far. It's 1-1. We're going to Temple of Anubis next. It looks like for our next map. This is a map where we saw the tide start to turn finally for Indignation, and that's when they ended up going on and winning in 3-1 in the last game that we saw them play against Nariki. So I don't know if we're going to see that. This is a little bit different of a team we're seeing in Regem with what they can do with their compositions.
Yeah, Regem seems to have a good grasp on like whatever they're playing in terms of like the Bastion composition, the Reaper Doomfist as well. And I think coming into this map, that's definitely going to be important, you know, because I think in that last map, we did see a lot of both of those compositions run at the same time. Regem also has a good understanding of the Mei as well. We saw a lot of really clutch Blizzards coming out from, I think it was Grathan. So I think, you know, Regem looking pretty good as we go into Anubis.
Yeah, Anubis is going to be our next map. We'll probably have teams switch sides again, you would imagine.
Again, yep.
Is something that we're probably end up going to see. So If I had
There
to
it
guess,
is. That we did it. Okay, we did it.
yeah, we
They
did it. We
switched.
did it. They not yet. Not yet. Oh, do
No.
they have? They just haven't switched the names.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, this is going to
This
be
is standard.
this is going to be Indignation's map pick. So they obviously, again, we talked about it, how it seemed that Regem understood very well what they were going to be running when it came to running on Numbani, and it definitely showed because their first attack was just so incredibly stompy. They ended with, like I said, at the 5 minutes and 14 seconds. So I think for Indignation, they're already warmed up on this map. They played it last round. They won pretty handedly as well. So I think they're definitely ready coming into Anubis with the game plan.
They know what they want to do too. Obviously, it was they didn't really hide what they were doing for the most part
No.
throughout the maps. For Regem, you imagine it's going to be similar. The Bastion isn't as good here. This is not a map where you can really play that Bastion. So
Hmm.
that's something that they're not going to be able to rely on. This comes down to what is the bread and butter of this meta at this point right now, Kenobi, is how well can you play this Reaper, Doomfist style composition with the Orisa Stigma and then the Lucio and the Moira. That's the base. And I think that's one thing, like, for Indignation, the one thing that they do better than every team we've seen them play, at least for you and I, is they do the base
Hmm.
composition better than anybody else so far that they played.
Yeah, the Reaper Doom is really good. They know how to combo a lot of their ultimates and cooldowns, like we talked about earlier. They won control based off solely the fact that they were just hitting a lot of really good halt and meteor strike combinations as well. And I think for Indignation, you can maybe play the Bastion on this map. It does have some sort of value. I think New York Excel plays it pretty often. But you know, we can't all be NYXL. But Indignation, I think in their last map did also play it on the defense. So I think it's definitely something that you could see for them.
You can see it. It's just
It's just
after
not
the
as
first point, you're not using
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, after the first point, no, you switch. But for
Yeah.
first point defense, you definitely could use.
And they will be attacking first for the side of Indignation. So we will see how Regem decides to go defensively. We didn't see them use the Bastion defensively for the side of Regem.
No, we didn't. They stick more towards like the May Reaper and the Doomfist Reaper, and it seems to fit their playstyle a little bit more. Nachos seems to have had a much better time on the Doomfist in this last map rather than on Control. Where on Control he was wiling out a little bit, not really hitting the best Doomfist punches in the world. But there he was playing a little bit more measured, which is something I wanted to see from him a little bit more of.
He was also playing more May too, and I think he's
Yeah.
really good on the May, but his Doomfist was important at the end. I mean, you pointed it out at the end of the map that he's the one who rocket punches and kills Tap after his meteor strike.
Yeah, and we see here on the defensive side, we're going to be seeing, like you mentioned, the standard Reaper Doomfist. On the offense, Eden's been doing this a little bit, where he starts on the Widowmaker, tries to get a lucky pick at the start, and then we'll just go back and switch to the Reaper himself.
This is something that if you're somebody on the side of Regem, can end up costing you a player at the beginning if you're not careful. But he made the switch really quickly back, so we don't really get too much from that, which is unfortunate. I like Widow. I would be okay to see more Widow, but it's hard to play Widow when there's two giant barriers in front of you.
Yep.
Nachos coming in, not finding much value there as of yet, but, you know, threatening, and that's gives him a little edge in the percentage.
Yeah, he's going to have a little bit more. He did I think he hit the punch or he hit the uppercut onto someone, so it's just going to be slow. Everyone's going to be waiting for their cooldowns just a little bit. Pretty low, though, on the side of Indignation as they come in.
Rocket punch coming in. They could use the shift. Make sure that Nachos doesn't get too much value out of it, and they've been able to force their way onto this high ground. Pulling off, though, with the halt is the nice thing by the side of Regem, so they've at least forced some of those players off, and now you don't have the barrier in a position that you would really like it to be for the side of Indignation, but now Coalescent allows you to come
Nachos.
in, and Nachos goes down to the rocket punch of Tap, and now Tap can just free farm in that little room.
Tap gets revenge from that last map, is able to get Nachos out of the fight, and this is probably just going to be Indignation taking this and snowballing this onto the second point, Labosco.
Players already falling Senny out of the fight. Abs just throwing out as much healing as possible. Should be able to build pretty close to that Coalescence again before that next fight. But at this point, like you said, for sure, going over to the team in Indignation.
Yeah, and Indignation also has a lot of ultimates coming into this next round. Into this next fight, rather. They're gonna have the meteor strike, the bongos, the gravitic flux. as well. And they're going to have a 6-pack of ultimates. And on the other side, Abs a little bit lacking in terms of his Coalescence charge, and Grathen not even close to where Eden is.
My God, a 6-pack of ultimates maybe to attack at this point is absolutely insane. 5:08 left to go here too, so a really big time bank that they can potentially have here. Indignation just looking for their chance. They spat out the Reaper on the high ground. See, they force out the Wraith for him is the good thing. So one of those important cooldowns already out as they force their way towards the point.
And they're just going to be waiting here for their cooldowns. The Doomfist Punch comes in from Nachos. He's really deep in, but he has to Meteor Strike out.
And now coming through his tap Meteor Strike of his own after getting a few players low. Waiting for that opportunity to drop down. He's just going to hide himself instead. Supercharger coming out. Look for the Death Blossom to come out next. That's up into the air. Manages to get 2 players down. Gravitic Flux, not enough. Sound Barrier used to keep everybody alive. On the side of Indignation, just have to deal with a Moira on the points. Grathen trying to get back, but he can't. 4:21 on the clock. That's another massive time bank on Anubis for Indignation.
And I really like that play from Eden there. He was waiting for the Gravitic Flux to come out, because when you're in Gravitic Flux, I don't believe that you can use that Prismatic Grasp. So he uses the Gravitic Flux, and then the Death Blossom comes out, pumps out so much damage, and they're able to win that fight off of the back of the Death Blossom damage. Really nice patient play there coming in from Eden. And I think that's something that has kind of been Indignation's MO, is they're a very calculated team. They're waiting for the cooldowns of the enemy team. Whereas you saw Nachos there, goes on a very long flank, doesn't get anything, and has to Meteor Strike himself out of there.
They're calculated but aggressive.
Yeah.
They're extremely aggressive. I think that's one thing to still point out is, like, just because they're calculated with it doesn't mean they lack any aggression with how they play, because they're the team usually sort of forcing the issue. But it's like you said, it's calculated with how they're forcing the issue against these teams. And now defensively, we're going to see them here. Nothing different from them. Doomfist Reaper, Moira Lucio, and then the Orisa and the Sigma.
This is the second time that we've seen them on Anubis where they've had a time bank more than what they started with at the end of their first round. So
it's funny. This is large, and they had an even bigger one in the last match.
They had a bigger one. It was 4 minutes. It was like 5 minutes and 14 seconds on there in the last map, as we're going to be seeing a pretty close up shot of Doomfist here.
It's ready.
He's ready. He's waiting. He's got the fist
ready.
Locked and loaded.
Completely ready. Doors are about to open here, and when we can see from the other side, it's Mirror.
Yeah, the mirror composition. So I wonder how they're going to be playing this on the offense. Nachos, again, there you saw, he likes to take these really aggressive long flanks. Is he going to be doing the same, or is he going to play more with his team? We'll see as they're going to be rotating through this room. Tap gets out and comes back to his team, not getting counterpunched.
Didn't get any damage out either, so he doesn't really get any advantage as far as his ultimate charge over Nachos, like we saw Nachos did. Not that it mattered, because they lost this point on the first attack anyways, but Grathen throwing out a little bit with the Hellfire shotguns, not finding anything as of yet. They've got to be able to push through this room. They have the barriers available to do so. Now Nachos uppercutting through the air, the Sigma, and now just looking for that next opportunity to go in.
Yeah, they're just going to be waiting patiently for all of their cooldowns here. Coalescence available here for Abs, but it is available also on the side for Suprax.
So Coalescence first going to be used by the side of Regem. Indignation will answer with the Coalescence of their own. Oh, have to be careful. Oh! Rocket Punch by Tap. So good. Meteor Strike in for another kill. Tap is coming alive again.
Oh, Tap. Tap is just a man on a mission right now on this Doomfist. Completely wipes out Regem. Abs didn't know what hit him right there. And it looks like Regem not going to be able to take a single tick. It's going to be Indignation holding.
Massive from Tap. That's insane. They've already won as far as time bank is concerned, Kenobi.
Yeah, definitely, especially because now it's that 3 minutes, not that 4 minutes that you get when they cap this. So they're going to have to cap this now if you're Regem, if you want to even try and match the time bank that you have from Indignation.
And this is already taking so long that there's no way that they can even potentially match this up, even if they win this fight outright. So already doing a good job for Indignation defensively, but Eden is down. So that's an early loss that you don't want to have. And now you're going to get Grathen, though. It's going to get Grathen. So we're back to a 5v5. Still potential here. Gravatic Flux on either side. Can either one get enough value Nothing yet. The Supercharger's already eliminated by both teams. And Tap again. Rocket Punch though by Nachos answers right back and takes the Moira out. Coalescence being used here by Abs, gets one, and it's looking pretty good for the attacking team. Tap missing with his Meteor Strike, and that'll be it for this first point hold coming through for Indignation. Regem, a good job to fight through that even though they had the first player lost.
Yeah, Tap was trying his hard out there, but Nachos does come in clutch with a couple of nice punches, specifically onto Strucrax, gets Strucrax out of the fight. So Moira, once you lose your Moira in this composition, you lose so much healing. Lucio doesn't really have the best healing output, so really clutch play coming out from Nachos.
You also had that Coalescence advantage too, that Abs had Coalescence up. So that advantage too just helps you out so much. And now we see here advantages, there's not really... They're pretty even as far as ult economy is concerned.
Yeah, there's just really the Death Blossoms on both sides. It's going to be a, an econ fight. You're going to just try and farm some of your ultimates. If you can win off of something like a Doomfist Punch, then that's great, but you're just going to be mostly here trying to get towards your ultimates. You're trying to win off of those Doomfist Punches or a flank from the Reaper.
Definitely not the situation we saw with Indignation where they were able to push in with basically 6 ults and then win the fight outright. So this is going to be a hard-fought fight if they want to win it for the side of Regem. You see them coming on this left side, starting to push through that choke. Accretion thrown out, didn't really get anything.
Oh,
Mossy is dead, though. Tap with that. It looked like there was a halt in there as well. And Abs is not going to get any value out of this Coalescence. And honestly, Abs might have just been better to just exit out. Instead, it's just going to try and build up as much ult charge as possible.
Yeah, Abs was trying, but it was a really nice boop, though, from Cloud to negate a lot of the healing that was coming from the Coalescence. And Indignation, again, gonna be holding. Eden's gonna try and chase some kills, but it's gonna go down. Not gonna matter too much since the spawns are so close. And Regem here, 3 minutes left. They're gonna have some time. That's a nice accretion that's gonna hit, but not gonna do any damage.
You get a little bit of ult charge off of it, I guess. But Senny already has ult, so it doesn't even
Send
matter.
a message, basically.
Yeah, sure.
I can hit you with this whenever I want, so just be wary.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nachos coming in for the rocket punch. He gets stunned. Sound barrier, though, will keep him alive. He has his own Meteor Strike available that he can use here whenever he decides for Nachos. Grathen getting that kill onto Eden, and now the Meteor Strike is next. Looking for the Supercharger, gets that out at the very least, but they do lose Kumber is the only thing, so that's a bit of a loss. And now the Coalescence coming out to try and even things back up, but Tap able at Nachos. Sound barrier, oh no, it was a sound barrier keeping everybody but Shade alive.
That Gravitic Flux was so huge, and might be all that they need for Regem to take this point.
They still have to start building onto it, though. It's the only thing. It's taking too long. Players are staying alive. Mossy's kind of just stuck here with Grathen underneath, so now Grathen, they're going to have to back out. Even though they were getting a couple eliminations, respawns were just too much.
And they've been taking so much time off the clock. That fight lasted a minute already, and they didn't get a lot of ultimates out of it. They have the Supercharger right now, though.
It's exposed. Here's the Supercharger. Now they come back through. Mossy ends up going down. Tap with one already, taking out the Supercharger as well. Grathen having to fight with Eden, who's able to just Wraith form away. They got to back out.
And they've been using so much time and so much ultimates to try and just win that last fight. And Indignation is just going to run at the side of Regem here, try and get as many picks as they can, because a minute left, Labasco, especially with Temple of Anubis. This is your last fight here, and they don't have a lot to work with. Unfortunately, they have some things for them. They have the Sound Barrier, they have the Reaper ultimate as well, and they're going to be able to have the Coalescence, but on the other side, a lot of ultimates as well.
They're very similar ultimates that are available on either end. Shade closer to the Superchargers, the one big difference. Senny, though, closer to the Gravitic Flux. Alex is much further away from it compared to Senny. Sound barrier for Cloud. Abs not with the Coalescence, though. So you have a couple different ultimates that can maybe make the difference here. And we'll see how this ends up going. Nachos looking for that opportunity to come in. Going to have the Coalescence used first. That'll force out the Sound Barrier first. And now you have the Meteor Strikes going out for either side. Gravitic Flux. Don't know if it's going to get anything. That was the only problem. It hasn't seemed to. Grathen still looking for an opportunity to Death Blossom.
Oh, Nachos is able to get the kill on Tap. That's pretty big. But there's the Death Blossom from Grathen. Is able to get Cloud as well. And they're going to be able to win this fight.
They win the fight, like you said, Kenobi, they're going to get the point, but it's in overtime is the only thing. So they have to just try and get these players who are trying to come back. They don't get on, but a overtime win fight on Temple of Anubis with 421 on the other side. 33% is all that's needed for Indignation.
Yeah, and with the way Indignation has been playing this map throughout the day that we've seen them, it's going to be a very difficult task for Regem to try and even hold this. And they're even going to be only holding for a draw. You can't win at this point. So for Regem, you really got to pull something out of your hat to try and hold this for 4 minutes and 21 seconds, because Indignation has been running through these point A's very quickly the past couple of times we've seen them.
Are you going to pull a rabbit out of your hat, or are you just going to grab in there and nothing comes out? I don't know what it's going to be for the side of Regem, but we'll see what they decide. Bastion is going to be the choice as far as one of their DPS, along with Nachos playing the Mei. So this is a composition we've seen them play really well on, but you have 4 minutes and 21 seconds that you're working through, Kenobi.
Yeah, and this is kind of the composition where you're just like trying to just hunker down the best you can and really just take time off the clock as best as you can as well, because they have the Bastion, they have the Mei, a lot of sustain on this composition, a lot of healing to chew through as well. And even if you get a pick onto, say, the Bastion, you have the Mercy available for Regem to try and res that back up. So this is just the composition where you're like, we need to hold for 4.5 minutes. We can't do it with Reaper Doomfist. We're going to have to do it with the Bastion.
Reaper Doomfist, though, on the other side is one thing to point out. So Indignation going with the tried and true composition in this meta. And Tab actually takes a look, and is he going back to spawn? I think
he's going to go to Mei. He's going to go to Mei, I think. He's gonna,
no, he's,
no, okay.
He baited us.
He was baiting us, but he's going to go to Mei here. Mei, obviously very good at dealing with Bastion. You can use that wall to negate a lot of the damage, or just put it in front of him, or you can just try and, you know, put him up and then try and get the damage done that way.
Well, they put the Mei wall up here at first, trying to go underneath. They're going close to where that comp is positioned, but making it where the Bastion can't actually shoot them. And now they put up another Mei wall, and they've positioned themselves on the point. So now you have to rotate over if you're the side of Regem. Indignation now hold up in that room where that health pack is, trying to get down the amplification matrix. Oh, Tab! Good use of the wall to keep himself alive. He got pulled back out. Eden is dead, though, gets killed by Graythen.
Yeah, and they're going to have to kind of just wait here. They're going to try and just do their best to get the Bastion down. They're running at him, but he's getting pocketed. There's so much healing.
Not going to be enough. Graythen will get Cloud out of the fight. Immortality Field Coalescence on the other side, though, to try and deal with it. But Graythen just holding left click. Really easy to shoot the targets when they're that close to you. Alex is just stuck between really a rock and a hard place, and literally an accretion rock and a hard place. And this is going really well for Regem.
Yeah, really well. They milked a minute off the clock already. They have a huge ultimate advantage in this next fight, so there's almost no way, unless there's some really horrendous errors, that Regem can lose this next fight. They can just win probably off of just the window or the bongos as well, and just have Graythen just shoot into the enemy team.
The name of the game for Indignation is get ultimates out and build up your own, but Cloud just wiped off of the face of the map, and goodbye. The Blizzard is all that was needed to be used. Like you said, one ultimate and win the fight, and now you're down to 224.
Yeah, now you keep your other 5 for this next fight, and really what's going to be winning this fight for Indignation here is you're going to have to try and get a really good Blizzard or a really good Graviton or Gravitic Flux available to you, because there's no way they're going to be able to take this Bastion off the high ground.
They are close to Gravitic Flux, though. That's an important thing to point out. You see the Mei wall to try and counter the Mei wall there was being used. Didn't really work out this time, but that's okay. You've already got Alex, who's extremely low. Shade can't even get there.
Graythen murdering.
Just destroying on this Bastion.
Yeah, that's 2 ultimates that they've used. They used both the bongos and the window at the same time. I would have, if you were, trying to be super duper optimal, you probably just would have used one and kept the other one for later. But you'll take it. Minute and 38 seconds left, and nice accretion hit there from Seni. But this is 1 or 2 fights left for Indignation. They have to make something happen now. This is going to be very disastrous for them. They're not going to be able to take this win when they had a 4-minute time bank.
They're doing the same thing, though. They're building up their ultimate bank, though. They have not used any ults. They are going to throw out the Blizzard here. They're going to try to use the Shake. It's Nachos. That's a big loss at the beginning, especially because Nachos could have tried to free some of these targets, and Sucrax is down, though, as well. Bastion set up in a good spot. Has to be careful, though. Gets pulled off the high ground. Oh, but there's so pressure right in front of them. Flux, along with the use of the Death Blossoms, enough here, and Indignation is going to win this. It was not easy, though, for them. They take that 2-1 lead.
Indignation had to fight super hard for that victory, and there at the end, unfortunately, it was Nachos who goes down very early. Tap is going to be getting play of the game, but man, that was so close. Indignation were looking so shook, and Regem seemed to have had their number with the way that they were cycling those ultimates, and just the use of the Bastion was so good. Very close matchup.
It felt a little calculated though from Indignation because they wanted. It felt like they were just waiting for ultimates to come online. They knew that there was.
It's kind of what you used to do with like Sombra, Genji, Ana offense on that against like a Bastion composition where you're just like, okay, we have to just take it a little bit. We're gonna have to lose a couple of fights. We're gonna have to farm up our ultimates, and it's not gonna be that quick since we're fighting in shields. And then eventually, when it's like 2 minutes, we'll have our Nano Blade, we'll have our Dragon Blade, and we'll have our EMP, and that's really what we're gonna be looking out for. So you're right, it's kind of like that, I think.
It felt like, at least that's what it felt like, because they kept doing the same thing over and over, and they didn't seem really concerned. Like they purposely weren't using ultimates. It felt like so, and they get themselves a 2-1 lead again. Rialto's going to be our pick here for the next map for Regem. Bastion as well. I'm thinking of when I see this map. Bastion, Pharah. Also, we saw that Indignation does have. Some Tap can play the Pharah, lost a couple of times in their last matchup, the 1v1, but he does have it and does have some good moments on it. So yeah, I definitely expect this is probably Bastion, probably Pharah map, and then we're just going to see Standard as well. Doomfist Reaper still has some prominence on this matchup as well. You could probably say it's because Cloud was on the other side. It was just a darn good Pharah is why Tap lost that. Like, not that because Tap would win that matchup every now and then, but it was more heavily in favor of Cloud. So, and possibility.
Yeah, and for Regem there, I mean, the Bastion looks really good. Just their understanding of their ultimate usage, the cycling of ultimates. The one thing that I would have like nitpicked was you used Window and you used Bongo at the same time when you probably could have just won with a single one. And if you had maybe one of those for the last fight, you could have won that one. But besides that, everything looks really good. It's just they lost to basically 6 ultimates at the end there, unfortunately. And again, 4 minutes and 21 seconds is just a long time to try and hold that.
The Blizzard getting off and really forcing them to have to move the way that they didn't want to and split up the team. Beautiful use of an ultimate by Indignation. And
definitely.
Surprise, surprise, teams are switching sides again.
Yeah, I mean, it's been happening every time. It's good for us to remind the audience, remind ourselves also, because sometimes if they're on the wrong sides, thank God they switched that thing where it would switch sides, but it wouldn't switch colors. So one team would be on the overlay, it would be red, but they'd be the blue team on the overlay. It was just a mess, but now they fixed that.
Yeah, glad that they fixed that. I don't think I had to worry about when that was going on. So I thankfully didn't have to deal with that too much, but that's okay because we get to deal with some good Overwatch.
This tournament was sponsored by...
Both of these teams have been playing. It's been fun. Even, I mean, think about it. A 4-minute and 20-second time bank was taken down to like a minute by Regem.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you can definitely hang your hat on that. Like, you lost because just you had some errors with your ultimate, but it looked really good for Regem for most of that defense. And just because that Bastion composition so strong, especially on Anubis.
Well, guess what we get to see here on defense for Indignation? We get to see some Bastion.
Yeah, this is what I talked about a little bit earlier, where Bastion has a lot of prevalence on this map, but Pharah does as well. You kind of have like a crossfire with the Bastion, with the Pharah. Very hard to deal with both of them at the same time.
A little bit, we finally get a different map from what we've seen up until this point too.
It was almost going to be like exactly the map pool that we saw from the last map too. It was looking that way for the first 3 maps.
But now we get Rialto here. We only go to pretty maps here for Monkey Bubble. Okay,
Rialto's a really pretty map too.
Yeah, exactly. Italy's just a pretty place anyways. So in real life,
So go to Italy.
Yes, definitely. Go to Philly. Go to Grand Finals. That'll be fun.
That's you.
But either way, Grafton knocking Tap out of the sky. I think it might have been a 2-tap.
Yeah, the res is going to come in, but that was some really nice shots from Grafton. Almost gets pulled down there, the Orisa does, but Senny is able to get the flick onto Alex, and they drop down now. That's a really aggressive drop down from Shade. He's going to go down, and man, it looks like Indignation just get screwed on this first point.
Tap killed himself, but just kind of came in there, just trying to do as much damage as possible, while the cart now will roll.
Do you hear the Bastion?
Yes.
I love that sound line. That's a really good sound line.
It is. It's a really good one. But you have to make use of it is the only thing. Grathen on the flank here, looking for an opportunity to take some pot shots at the Farron. Tap is, he comes out for Indignation, but now the positioning is right where that point is from this first one is where you have Indignation, and now Grathen just trying to focus on the Farron in the sky, and so far he's at least keeping the Farron at bay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about when you're playing like a hit scan against a Pharaoh like this, it's not about getting the kills, which is also good, but it's also about just hitting them, right? You're trying to just put the pressure onto them, make sure that they just can't just sit and free farm, but not behind cover, you know, make sure that they have to go away and make sure that they don't really just sit there for free.
Don't get to use that ultimate just as of yet. Deadeye is used and Grathen will lose his life because of it. Abs coming around, Cretion. Oh, but he's able to get back thanks to his fade. Tap coming through though with that barrage. Kills himself, but did so much damage that it doesn't even matter. His team gets the win in the fight, and now they can just, somebody is still hiding behind. I think it's the Moira.
Yeah, and this is going to be a stagger, so that's more time, a little bit more time that's milked off the clock, and they were so close there, Regem, to getting that first cap, but they just aren't able to do it, and this is one of the worst places on Rialto to be caught in, because it's just, you have to walk so far away, you don't have the respawn advantage either, so for the side of Regem, this is a little bit scary.
Think of Nimbani being caught right after you get the cart, when you've pushed all the way almost to that first point. Basically, that's what this is right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, but luckily for the side of Regem, they're going to have some ultimates. Blizzard is going to be the best one because you're in such a confined area where Blizzard should find a lot of value right here.
Well, and there you go. Throw the Blizzard out. You've already got Shade who's in it. The Bastion is as well, and goodbye to the Bastion. Blizzard, all they needed to win this fight.
Yeah, not the biggest fan of that bongo either from Shade. It probably could have kept it for this next fight, especially because now we're going to B, and B is very snowballable, especially now that Flossy Mossy has the advantage when it comes to Supercharger as well.
They also find a couple of stagger kills for players who got caught out in bad spawn, so a little bit of extra all charge for them.
Yeah, and I would expect here for Indignation to switch their comp a little bit. Eden probably going to be going to the Reaper just to play more standard. Grathen going to be staying on the McCree for now. I expect that to change after this next fight. Going to be going to the Reaper or to the Doomfist.
Tap and sub on the Doomfist, so you were right. As far as the Doomfist is concerned, Gravatic Flux here will catch a few players. Really, really close to losing his life was Alex, but he's still able to stay alive. His team is healing him up. Adden coming in instead and gets Abs down. So now this change in players, of heroes, seems to be making the big difference for Indignation.
And that's kind of one you have to take here for Regem there. You just don't get the value out of the out of your ultimates that you would have wanted there. And Alex, it's a really nice Gravitic Flux as well. So coming into this next fight, Grathen's still on the McCree. An interesting decision, just has the Deadeye, not really the greatest of ultimates. Probably could be doing a little bit better with something like a Reaper here, but sticking, to his guns and sticking to his mechanics.
Yeah, really odd to see for sure that they are staying with this Tap, just kind of poking and prodding, waiting for his opportunity here to rocket punch in, hoping that players come into that room because it's really great if you do. A lot easier to get those rocket punches off, although if you come down the narrow hallway, that doesn't hurt too bad either. Coalescence out first. Shade got extremely low. I had to hide behind the wall here. So not much damage coming out from this Coalescence, but players getting frozen, and then the use of the Blizzard catches a few of them as well. But Tap on the rocket punch, and then the Seismic Slam getting two, keeping this even.
Oh, they traded though, and there's the Gravitic Flux coming up, but the Sound Barrier to match it is very good, and the Coalescence as well, so they're sustaining.
Sustaining so far, but this stall coming out, especially the Sound Barrier being committed in, there's still a chance to win the fight for Indignation. And now they've got Coomer down. So now
what a fade.
You lose the speed, you lose that, and a fade, keeping alive your Moira as well. Grathen, he's able to use the right form to get back, but they've been stalled out here. They haven't really lost the fight, but they didn't win it either.
Yeah, this fight has lasted so long, and it's actually Indignation who has the advantage when it comes to their ultimates. They have the bongo advantage.
Tap also has the Meteor Strike now as well. Oh, he missed the rocket punch. He's able to not get Grathen down, but Tap throwing the Meteor Strike in. The halt time perfectly double kill, and the rocket punch for a third.
It's almost like any time that there is the meteor strike available for Indignation, they're always going to just win these fights based off of the fact that they have the halt with it. The combination is so good from them, and it will time. And now Regem, this is their last fight. 38 seconds left and no ultimates besides the Coalescence that's close.
Match territory as well, so have to be careful with this one. Eden just poking right now at his counterpart in Grathen. He has ultimate. Grathen is still really far away with the Death Blossom up on one side, Coalescent the other. So two ultimates that really you need something to combo them with usually is the one thing. In Gravatic Flux, though, extremely close for Alex. If he gets this, it's a big advantage that you have in this fight. Have to get on the cart here. So being forced to do that is the Orisa in Flossy Mossy. As now you'll have the ultimate coming up here for Alex, and he's going to get it with the big halt! Big halt in, and the Coalescence being used still. Peak a couple of players alive at the very least, so not much out of that one right
Cloud
now.
is down.
Still with that Blossom, throws it in, gets one down, even in sight so far. Tap with the rocket punch, and now players fall. Nothing Nachos can do. Quadruple kill for Eden as his team clears the card and will get the win and slow things down. Only have to push about halfway through second point in order to win this map outright and have another win against Regem.
It seems that Indignation, when they just play standard, they just understand the composition so well in terms of their cooldown management, their combinations as well. And on the other side, it just doesn't seem to be the same for Regem. They just don't seem to be as on the same page as Indignation are, and you're really seeing it with a lot of these fights.
Still have a chance to hold here. We do have the potential of the Bastion to be played by Regem, and we know that that's something that they're really good at. So defensively, I think that is something to consider, but I think you're right about the fact that this continues to show us that as far as the games that you and I have done today in the two teams that they've played for Indignation, they are the stronger base composition team. They were better than Ricky, and they look better than Regem for the most part.
Yeah, and as we see the teams coming out on their offenses and defenses here, it looks like we're actually going to be seeing possibly a Pharah battle, something definitely that Rialto is known for. A lot of open skyboxes that Pharah can use, and a lot of also geometry that she can hide behind so that the Mercy can just still, or Mercy can heal her back up. So we're going to be seeing Sigma here.
With your tournament life on the line, Kenobi, sorry to cut you off there, didn't mean to. I was just going to ask you, are you surprised that we're seeing Nachos on the Bastion and not seeing seeing him on the Doomfist, not on the Bastion, or seeing Grathen on it more so?
I think that for Regem, it seems that they've had those nice moments with the Bastion, but here on the this is probably the best bet you have for your defense, especially if they are going to be bringing out a Bastion on the other side. The one thing is that Nachos maybe here could have been on something like a May. That would have been a little bit better if they thought the Bastion was coming out, but I think this Bastion is completely catching them by surprise.
Oh, Accretion Rock, though, gets in onto Eden, and with the distance, he's going to be down at least for a second tap, though. Knows that he can free fire in on them pretty easily, especially if he can get around some of those barriers.
Yeah, it's just going to be a war of attrition right now as Indignation's going to be pushing the cart. Tap just isn't even looking here at Grathen. He's just trying to do his best to break some shields and win the ground war.
Ground war is such an important thing, especially when you talk about the cart that needs to be pushed. Eden now trying to position himself around into an area where he can flank as the Bastion away from where the main part of the team is, but he has both of his barriers there, so they're coming around, but they're staying out of sight is the important thing, and they're keeping this cart from moving. Oh, but now he comes around
the
and
flank.
Mossy almost getting destroyed. Abs, though, gets lost instead, and now this flank that was so telegraphed works.
Really nice rotation from Indignation there, and it works like a charm, as you mentioned. They just didn't seem to be ready for it, weren't ready for the Pharah damage and the Bastion damage all at once, and Regem goes down. They might not even be able to get a recontest here, Labasco.
They've made a switch, though. The Amplification Matrix, good luck trying to get out of here.
They can't.
They're not going to be able to. They're trying to position themselves for their next defense, but they lost their main tank in Flossy Mossy, so now you are already further behind. You're going to give up even more space to Indignation.
That was also such a really nice move from Eden, going up to that high ground and then using that amplification matrix to just rain down damage onto the entirety of Regem so that they couldn't even walk onto the point. It's like a World War II trench in there.
Eden was just looking to see if anybody got caught out. Nobody did. There's a Lucio kind of on a flank there in Kumber, but it didn't do anything. So now you'll have Eden finally get to the cart and look to position himself on those stairs.
He's going to go a little bit higher here. Going to try and get some good vantage point, as he does have the tank mode available to him, but I expect him not to use it that much. I expect him to just use this this Bongo from Shade and just use the sentry mode to just do the damage.
You can't lose the fight here if you're the side of Regem. Your tournament life is over if you do. Eden using the tank mode now. Supercharger out too from Shade. Gravatic Flux didn't really do much. Not looking good, especially with the barrage coming from above. Does get 3 with it before losing his life, and now it's only a few players left alive. They won't be able to stop them from getting to the golden box, and Indignation moves on to the losers final.
And it's second verse, same as the first Labosco. Last time these two teams played each other, 3-1. This time again, 3-1 Indignation. Just with the first, it always seems like with them, it's always like they win the first map, lose the second map, and then they just they download the enemy team, and they were able to win the last 2 maps pretty convincingly as well. This one was rather convincing from Indignation, as they're going to be moving on, and unfortunately for Regem, they're going to be going home.
Yeah, they will await the winner of the winners final, which is a match that is going
well,
to
the loser of the losers final.
Or sorry, excuse me, yes.
Or losers of the winners final.
Yes, I said that backwards. Thank you, Kenobi. I appreciate it.
I got you.
But it's Ex Oblivion versus Ad Astra is who they will wait the winner of. You and I will actually have tomorrow the game of Indignation versus whoever they end up playing.
Were their good luck charms?
Apparently
charms?
so.
We need to. They're gonna be like, we need. If they win, they're gonna be like Casper finals.
Yeah, it's gonna need to get you in for that one.
Yeah.
So a good win though, regardless, by the side of Indignation to get themselves to this point, to the losers final. They had to fight through a large part of the losers bracket to get here too, or not a large part, but they've had a lot of games. Let's put it that way. And we're gonna bring in Shade from that team who is victorious in Indignation. So first off, Shade, congrats. Getting to the finals for the losers final for this one. Kenobi and I here got to do the last 2 games for you guys, and one thing that we've noticed is it seems like you guys have a pretty good grasp of the base meta comp with that Reaper and the Doomfist. What do you really equate that to why your team can play it so well?
I think it falls down to Tab being great Doomfist and having good synergy with my pulls, and overall being able to play many playstyles based on our opponents.
Yeah, I see it a lot with with you guys, and when I was watching your games, a lot of the times you guys are using this combination of the Meteor Strike and the Halt very well. Is it something that you've been practicing, something that you know is always kind of guaranteed to get yourself a fight win?
Yeah. It's definitely something we plan before the fight and sometimes mid-fight if it happens. Yeah.
You've seen a couple of them that were super good combinations that come out from you guys. It's been fun to watch, just seeing the way that you guys have been able to continually. It seems like you're growing in the composition too as the tournament has gone on. As far as just for this tournament in and of itself, what has it done for you guys as a team?
I mean, we haven't been together for a long time, so these big sessions of a lot of games, it brings all of us out, and yeah, it creates good trust between each other and good team play for sure. I think when the tournament started, we weren't showing really good. We played worse than usual, but we got the confidence up, and yeah, hopefully we can do well in the loser final.
There anybody in particular you want to see from to meet you in the losers final? Do you want to see Ex Oblivion again, or do you want to get a new opponent in Ad Astra?
I mean, we lost to Ad Astra. I think I want to play them again.
This tournament was
there was
sponsored
some
by
rivalry in the past between Indignation and Ex Oblivion. We played many times in all these months of no open division. I think it's fun to play them, but we lost to Ad Astra just a few days ago, and playing them again and do better is what we want first. Yeah.
The revenge match.
Yep.
It'd be fun to see. We get to do that one, so we look forward to calling you guys that match for you guys in that one, and good luck here in that losers final tomorrow. We really look forward to being to call that game that you guys are going to be in.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So that was Shade here from the team that just won in Indignation. They're the number 2 seed here in this tournament as well, Kenobi, and whoever they end up playing, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, he said that like they hadn't been around together that much of his team, and you could have fooled me with how they've been playing so far. Their coordination seems to be one of the better in the Monkey Bubble tournament, so I'm definitely looking forward to see how they're going to be playing in that losers finals that we're going to be able to cast. So, I mean, they're definitely a very fun team to watch the 2 games that we've seen them so far.
So as far as what you've seen of this tournament so far, and at least for this final game, for your player of the game for this one, who is it that you would have to give it to? Because I feel like this was another one where Indignation just had somebody else who looked really good for parts, and there's a couple of people you could pick.
Yeah, I think Tap really showed his stuff on Doomfist, and Doomfist is such an important hero in the current meta that you almost need to have a really good one to have a lot of success. And unless there's other people on your team who can pick up the slap, so I think Tap really had a phenomenal game. Shad mentioned it himself, comboing really well with his halts and just playing really well around his tank line.
Without a doubt. And just want to give you an update again for the times of those games tomorrow, so the games that we have tomorrow. Obviously, the semifinals of the winners bracket will be first, and that will be at 1600 CEST. I don't ask me to convert things because I'm terrible at that. But that'll be the first game, and we kind of roll through here for the games after that. So we have times for those other games, and it's not necessarily going to be where it is. It's good to know when the start is, so that way you'll be here for the start, and then you can see all 3 of the games that we have tomorrow. It's been a super fun day today, though, Kenobi, and rolling into the final games tomorrow, it looks like it's going to continue to be that way. And it's been a pleasure to actually get to cast with you again. It's only been like a year.
Yeah, only a year. So we're back, and I had a lot of fun today, a lot of really great games, and I can't wait to see Indignation tomorrow as we're going to be casting that losers finals and see, are they going to get the revenge match against Ad Astra, or are they going to get a new opponent to try and get towards that grand final? They are the 2nd seed, so grand finals is where they technically should be as we go into tomorrow.
Well, thank you, of course, to everybody who's making this possible, from Monkey Bubble and especially here behind the scenes helping us out, Man of Class and Pinglo Minglo, who is the one who is doing everything as far as the production side of the viewing of the game. So thanks to those 2 and to everybody else who makes this all possible. But we've got one more day left to do this, so we'll have all those thanks again tomorrow. So that's going to do it here for us. We'll see you tomorrow for the finish of this European Invitational.
This tournament was sponsored by Insights, a platform for gamers to learn and teach at the comfort of their own PC. Get your account today.